two different methods for multiplying polynomials and specifically binomials. And so when you turn the page, you'll see, or go to the next page, you'll see what exactly the binomials look like. But this first page is a good reference sheet to come back to. I'm not going to read it step by step in its entirety, but these are the steps that we're going to follow for one of the methods of multiplying binomials, and this is called the box method. I'm also going to show you another method to use because I want you to see both so you can see the advantages of both and decide for yourself which one makes the most sense to you, which one you feel most comfortable with. And the reason why we're doing this and why we care is because this is going to help us when we work with our quadratics. We've already learned standard form, we've learned vertex form. Multiply binomials is going to enable us to move between the two forms, meaning we're going to be able to go from vertex form to standard form. So I'm going to go ahead and start on this first problem. So what we're doing here is multiplying. So the first problem is 4x minus 3 times 2x plus 7. And I want you to write at the top here, because this is what we're doing throughout this. We're essentially using the distributive property. Okay, so the first method is really just using the distributive property. And I'm going to rewrite the problem over here just to have some space. And what we do is we distribute each term in the first set of parentheses to each term in the second parentheses. And we draw arrows so you can kind of see how this is going to work. Okay, so for the first arrow I drew is 4x times 2x. And that is going to be 4 times 2 is 8. X times x is x squared. And that, again, x times x is x squared. That came from our exponents property. Um, and then the next one was 4x plus 7. So that's going to be 28x. Keep going. Now the second term is negative 3. Multiply that by each term in the second parentheses. So then we'll have negative 6x minus 21. Now what we want to do here is combine like terms. And these two that I just underlined are like terms. They are like terms because they have the same variable, in this case x, and the same exponent or degree on that variable. In this case, they both have a degree of 1. So we can combine those two. So now we have 8x squared plus 22x minus 21. And that is our answer. Now, that's using the distributive property, okay? There is a method called the box method, which is a different visual, okay? Some people like it, some people don't like drawing out the boxes, but I want to show you just so you can decide for yourself. So what we're going to do is we're going to take these two binomials and we're going to write them one down the side and one on top. And it doesn't matter which one you write on the side and which one you write on the top. And what I mean by that is we're going to take 4x minus 3, and I'm going to write that down the left side, like so. 4x and then minus 3. And it's important to put that minus 3 or the negative sign in front of it because we're going to end up multiplying it. And so we need to know if it's a negative number. Okay, and then up top, we're going to write the other binomial, which is 2x plus 7. And now what we're going to do is we're going to multiply to get a value to put in the box. So I'm going to multiply 4x and 2x, and I'm going to get 8x squared. And then I'm going to multiply 4x and 7, and I'm going to get positive 28x. And I'm going to multiply negative 3 and 2x, and I get negative 6x. And one more, negative 3 and 7, I get negative 21. Now, notice that I'm putting positive and negative signs in there, okay? Because when we combine like terms, we want to make sure that we don't lose those. Now, what's neat about the box method is if you were multiplying binomials of the same degree, okay, meaning these both have an exponent of 1 and the same number of terms, then your diagonal terms are like terms, okay? So the diagonal terms are like terms, so you can combine them. So I'm going to write this one down here. I'm going to just draw this line so you can see the two different methods. I'm going to write each term out. 8x squared plus 28x minus 6x minus 21. And you could probably already see that we're going to get the same answer as the first method. 8x squared plus 22x minus 21. And there we go. So we just multiplied these binomials using two different methods. Okay. Now going forward, I'm going to show you mostly the box method. Okay. Because I think the box method is really great way to first learn this skill, and then when you get comfortable with it, you get to the point where you understand um, the visual of it without having to draw the box, and you can use the distributive method. Okay, so next problem is 3x minus 1 times 3x minus 1. So I'm going to write these down the side. So I have 3x minus 1, 3x minus 1. Now note, these are the same, but I do want to write both of them out. So I'm going to go ahead and use the box method, multiply 3x by 3x, and I get 9x squared. 3x times negative 1, I get negative 3x. Keep going. And again, my diagonal terms are going to be like terms. And I'm going to write it to the side, 9x squared. Now, a lot of times what people do is, because they know that these are like terms, they're just going to go ahead and combine them essentially in their head instead of writing them out. Okay, so negative 3x minus 3x is going to be minus 6x and then plus 1. And you're done. Okay, let's keep going. Now, I'm going to show you that, again, it doesn't matter which one you write down the left side and which you run on top. So I'm going to just switch it for you here so that you recognize that even if you write it different from the way I wrote it or the person sitting next to you, you're still going to get the same answer. So here we go. Diagonal terms are like terms. So combine those two. So I'm doing negative 36x minus 2x gives me a negative 38x. And there we go. For this next one, instead of using the box method, I'll show you the distributive method. Okay. And I'll do this one step by step. So I distribute the first term, the 4x, to the first term in the second binomial. So 4x times 3x, and I'm going to get 12x squared. And then I'm going to distribute the 4x to the negative 2. Because remember, when you're using the distributive property, you multiply binomials. You need to multiply each term in one binomial, or in one parentheses, by each term in the other parentheses. So here I'm going to get minus 8x. And then I'm going to take the negative 5, and I'm going to distribute it. Negative 5 times 3x is negative 15x. And then finally, the negative 5 times the negative 2, and I get positive 10. And then now, I still need to combine my like terms. And I get a final answer of 12x squared minus 23x plus 10. So again, that's the distributive property. That's without drawing the boxes. I don't have a preferred method. I would like for you to understand both, but you don't need to show both on your homework, on an assessment, on a quiz, anything like that. Okay, let's just move on. We're going to do the top two examples here. Okay, so this one looks different. So this one says parentheses 2x minus 1's parentheses squared. So let's remember back to exponents when we're just doing regular exponents. Okay, anything squared means you're multiplying it by itself. So really what this means, 2x minus 1 times 2x minus 1, is what I just said. Okay, square it, so you're multiplying by itself. So you can say this means or equals that. So if you want to use the box method, you would just write 2x minus 1 on the left side and 2x minus 1 on the right side. Okay, and then let's go ahead and multiply this out. We're going to get 4x squared minus 2x plus 1. Again, if you're using the box method, your diagonals will be like terms. Combine them. Minus 2x is minus 4x plus 1. And finally, we'll do the last problem. Remember, this means 4x plus 2, 4x plus 2. And now we are going to write that down on the left side and up top. And using the box method, I'll get 16x squared plus 8x plus 8x plus 4. Diagonal terms are like terms, so I can combine them. And I'll have 16x squared plus 16x plus 4. And so we just learned how to multiply binomials. Again, the reason we care is this will enable us to go from vertex form to standard form, which is something that we want to be able to do when we're working with quadratics. Now, these bottom two problems we're not going to worry about right now because these aren't binomials, so you can just cross those off in your notes. And again, this front page is the steps that we just did, so it's a really good reference sheet to go back to if you're forgetting exactly how we knew what terms to combine and what the first step was, etc. And that concludes this lesson.